a show. Whoever Evan got to play for the intro needs to pay him more. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another TNT Bricks video. Today we're going to be talking about, as the title card says, the daily operations of running a Bricklink, a Brick store, or just any Lego resale operation in general. Um, Stick around till the end of the video because I'm doing a little mini Q&A answering some of the questions you guys left in the comments. But for now, let's just get right into it. The thing about running a Bricklink slash Brick store is that you really can choose what you want to do, and it's a really nice freedom knowing that. But it could also be pretty harmful. Ralph from Ralph Bricks, now Brick Separator channel, I'll put the picture up on the screen. He's popularized the idea of the Bricklink selling triangle, which basically says a Bricklink store that's ran by one person can only do so many things at a time. You're either uploading parts, you're either selling a lot, or you are sorting, I think is what the third one was. So if you're selling a lot, you can't get stuff up into the store. But if you're adding a bunch of stuff into the store, you're probably not going to be selling that much because a lot of the time is going towards adding into the store. So as a one-man show, you kind of got to pick your battles. But other than that, the daily operations, it really depends on what kind of store you're running. Big stores like Great Brick Lab or Beehive Bricks, BBB Bricks, those are the really big stores. They typically do used mostly, and what a lot of that comes with is the labor of processing used pieces and having them as marketable goods, essentially, because when you're dealing with used Lego, there's a lot of things that can happen that prevent the sale of the piece just because the quality isn't that great. So you got to have a pretty extensive washing and cleaning process. That's what I do. I'll have a way more in-depth video on that, which just obviously enables you to, have confidence in the Lego you're selling. It's really silly to be selling used Lego, which has been touched by God knows how many people before it gets to you. And yeah, you should probably clean it. But after that, you sort it down, figure out what categories. Some stores don't even sort at all; they just kind of scan and just upload into drawers. I'm not there yet. I think it's a little wild. Um, but other than that, everybody just kind of figures out their system for getting parts uploaded into your store. Some other operations are according to the triangle. If you're selling, that means you're going to be running around your store a lot, picking drawers, getting pieces out of there, packaging orders, taping them, printing labels, that kind of stuff, right? So you can really kind of choose what you want to do with this, but typically most stores will kind of, like I said, they'll pick their battles. Right, so right now I'm kind of focused on just getting inventory into the store because I got a lot of drawer space. But eventually I'm gonna get to a point where it's like, all right, I think I'm good here. I think we can, thin the herd a little bit and then sell off some inventory and then just kind of, you know, repeat the cycle basically. Um, but there are some people that just want to sell, sell, sell and grow, 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 which is like, you know, kind of battling each other. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to run your store. Um, yeah, I mean there's really not much more to it than that. Honestly, a lot of people I feel kind of overcomplicate it, and it's really not that bad. I mean, there are some things you definitely have to do. You have to have a labeling system for your drawers. I personally just print out my labels by numbers, and then I put the number drawers, like the labels on each drawer around, and put in the remarks, the location in Bricker. But you can do it just on Bricklink too. That's fine. That's how I did it through like Brickstore. But yeah, I mean every store has their own way of doing it, right? But honestly, when you're kind of good with that, you're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again, and you get more efficient at it. Maybe you start doing something in one way and you get better and more efficient at it over time. And I look at pictures and videos on my phone when I started this, I'm like, oh my god, what the hell was I doing? Like that is just so ridiculous. But it's funny because like three months from now, I'm going to look back at what I'm doing right now and be like, oh my god, what is he doing? Like he, he's being so bad with like his efficiency. Like it's just always changing. So I think the best way to run a store is to be realistic with your goals. You gotta have goals. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that. You have to be mindful of what you're spending, what you're selling. You got to really understand those things. You got to keep track of your orders, keep track of your average order value, keep track of how many orders you're getting. I mean, these are really simple things, but you know, I don't. Not everybody's gonna just gonna go into the details of it, which is kind of wild. But you know, like, just know that you're doing this for a reason. Like, if you're just doing this to make money, there's like a million other things I could think of that would be better than doing this for money. I just so happen to enjoy doing this, and money is just the byproduct of it. You know, there's like sayings out there, like 20% of the effort you put in is 80% the result, or like whatever the heck it is. So, I don't mean to make this like a motivational video or whatever, but just be realistic with like what you're trying to do. If you're trying to make a bajillion dollars, you know, doing, you probably won't be able to do it, at least not out of your house, obviously. But you can make a few $1,000s very easily. There's some stores I know, they run it out of their house in a garage. They're clearing five figs, no problem, no problemo. When you have the right pieces, you have the right systems, you got the right, network, good sourcing, buying your Lego. Yeah, you can turn these little bricks, to piles of gold real quick. Not quick, but you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, those are just like quick little daily, operations of running a store. It's really not that complicated, and I think the best way of going at it is to not overcomplicate it. Be realistic with your goals. Know what you're working towards. Keep track of your money in, money out, basic business stuff. You don't have to go register an LLC and let the state know unless you're doing like crazy numbers, right? But you're doing this all on your own. You know, I'm not giving tax advice, but like just do your own research, right? But yeah, just figure out systems that work for you. Um, and heck, you might not even like doing it. You might love Lego, but you just hate running a business, or I mean, it is business, right? Running a store. So you kind of have to learn that balance of loving Lego, but also understanding when it's time to deal with an unhappy customer on Bricklink and not get too triggered over it. Now, luckily, if you send good parts, good quality parts, you answer back to messages super quick. You ship things, you ship your product like within the day of getting it, the order. I mean, guys, it's not that hard. I look at some of these pages. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? How are you? I'm in some groups, right? And they talk about like, oh, I go to the post office and I get my labels there. Like, what are you doing in the current year of 2026? If you do not have a label printer, if you do not have bubble mailers ready to go, if you do not have little, you know, oh god, plastic baggies of parts sorted by category in a package and you're just putting it all in one bag, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be memorable, you know? It's really not that hard, guys. I mean, I've never even had like a fucking real job, low key. And you know, it doesn't take a genius. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. I'd say the number one thing to think about too is it's a very cliche saying in the Bricklink Lego resale community, but don't give out parts that you yourself wouldn't want to get. I cannot stress enough like how silly and dumb that is. Last thing, don't leave comments on a listing on Bricklink unless it's like a set or a minifigure or something that somebody's seeking out specifically. Because if you just do that, if you have just like a bin of just like yellowed bricks that are white and they look yellow, but they're not because they're just sun damaged, do not write sun damaged bricks, because when somebody's going through a wanted list and they're coming to your store and they're buying a bunch of other stuff, Bricklink does not show the comments on a wanted list. So they're going to receive a bunch of crappy bricks and they're like, what the hell? And then they're going to see, the comments, oh, the seller listed it as crappy bricks. It's like, dude, nobody wants that. Don't sell bad stuff. Like like I said, unless it's like a set or a minifig where it's like nobody's just throwing a, $500 fig on a one. I mean, some people are, but like generally speaking, don't sell bad quality shit. It's just like, come on, it's 2026. Let's not do that. Anyway, uh, next topic, I guess. A few questions that you guys had. Um, so let's just kick off with that. So first question came from Thor Bricks. What are the similarities and differences between Bricklink and Brickowl? Thor Bricks really quick on that. The only really difference is the user experience, I would say. Brickowl's website is a lot different interface compared to Bricklink. It's a lot simpler, but it doesn't have as much to it, but I think it's better as a buyer. From the selling side, there's absolutely no difference at all. The only difference is the name and the order of the order numbers. That's about it. Everything else is the exact same as I go through Bricker, which keeps track of all the orders and the inventory. We had Eric Mueller asking if I could show how to break down a set, specifically use sets. That's a really good idea. I'm going to do an in-depth video on that because obviously I can't really do that right here, right now. Um, but that's a really good question because there's a lot of people out there, they part out brand new sets and they get the inventory straight from Bricklink and it's plug and play, very easy going. Compared to breaking down a used set which has been built, it's a lot different. So yeah, I have a very extensive knowledge of that, especially because I did that with the largest Lego set ever made, the Eiffel Tower. I tore it apart and put it in the drawers within 2 days. So, or 3 days, whatever. Um, and then we have Boohee TV. You recommended keep the vids 10 to 15 minutes long. Yeah, I agree with that. There are some Bricklink videos that can get really long in the tooth, so to speak. I will have videos that are longer than that only because I really can't contain myself and nerd out. But I do agree. Most of the videos should probably stay in that time frame. And then we had Rich Brick Hunt UK ask what made me go with Bricker so early on. That's a really good question because basically the way I figured it out was that the first few months that the trial run, I really liked what Bricklink had to offer. I really enjoyed the process. I still do enjoy the process of building the store and figuring out what works for me. And the conclusion I came to is that the inventory management is the most important part of running an efficient Bricklink store, and Bricker offers the front page consolidation that none of these other services provide. The inventory management system is extremely in depth. It is really ahead of the curve. Oh, and it syncs between Bricklink, Brickowl, and a couple other platforms. So it's extremely ahead of the curve. I also got kind of convinced by it by some other YouTube videos I watched that really made me pull the trigger on it. And it costs 3.5% of your sales, so keep that in mind. That is a pretty significant amount for a lot of stores, but luckily the margins for my store are more than wide enough to handle that no problem for now at least. And then we had Austin C wants me to talk about the choice of my storage system, pros and cons between the acros and Sterilites. Well, specifically asked why are you moving away from the acro mills and the Sterilites. I explained it in the comments. I'm not moving away from the acro mills. I am just putting most of the stuff in the Sterilites because I've figured out a really good system for it where I don't really have to rely on the acro mills as much, as those are very expensive units, and the Sterilites really shine with the storage capacity, density, cost, and just versatility, really. And then Michael Cruz, who amazing timing, actually placed an order with me. So thank you so much, Michael. That was really awesome to see. I wish you put a note in the order though, because like I totally forgot. But thank you so much for placing that order. Yeah, pricing is really interesting because next to inventory management, pricing is probably the most important um, thing that comes with running a Bricklink store. There's a lot of stores that could have a lot of pieces, a whole lot of variety, but there is also a lot of stores that are missing key pieces that um, are not getting sales because they don't have those pieces. And pricing kind of protects you from not losing out, but like kind of protecting your inventory with those kind of pieces that aren't as easy to replenish. I mean, eventually you will, but sometimes you want to keep you do want to keep some pieces just for everybody to get. And then we had some other comments, but we're not going to go that much more into it. Let's get into the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot believe how much support and engagement and interaction I'm getting on this brand new channel. And, leave some comments. I will answer them and most likely make a video about them as well. And if you have any ideas of what you kind of want to see, what I can try to see, make work, and we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. TNT Bricks out.